Hey, what is up, Omni athletes? We have a really exciting and fun episode for you today. Today's episode is with Jesse Thomas, who is a master trainer, master coach for some of the biggest and most well recognized fitness brands in the world, including UFC. And what you're going to hear in this episode, regardless of whether you're a coach or not, is just the power that comes from coaching and training the other dimensions of performance, and specifically what we gain as human beings when we see movement, health, fitness, our body as a representation of our entire lifestyle. And if you are a coach, what you're going to hear from Jesse is the kind of power, the kind of focus, the kind of discipline it takes to be a successful coach that can manage the energy of both high performing individuals and individuals that have the capacity to bring more out of themselves and to bring more to the team and bring more to their environment. So regardless of whatever role or stage you're in as a competitor, this episode is a must watch and must listen, because Jesse has literally done the incredibly hard work of translating science, technology, application, all of the research into practical guides that can be disseminated to coaches. And it's about translating that philosophy into something that's usable beyond yourself. And whatever we are doing in life, I made this point in the interview, if you're an Omni athlete, you're coaching or you're leading somebody. That's just who you are. And so the ability you have, or the quicker you gain the ability to take what's in your head, your experience, your skill set, your unique abilities, and translate that into something that can live outside of you as a philosophy, as a system, as a practical way of moving, going about the world, experiencing life. The faster you do that, the more impact you can have on the world. And ultimately, that's what we're here to do, to unleash our greatest potential and to impact as many people as we can by being the most extreme, most successful, most optimized, and most nourishing and energizing version of ourselves. So enjoyed this episode with Jesse Thomas. I could literally talk about it all day, but I think you guys would much rather hear him talk than me. So enjoy it. And until next week, let's jump into this week's episode of Omni Athlete. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Omni Athlete. We created this show and company to empower your performance with the wisdom and techniques of the world's highest achieving body, mind, and spirit competitors. Okay, so today's guest is an elite master coach and author who is working relentlessly to bridge the gap between science, technology, and application to positively change as many lives as possible through fitness. He is the global lead master trainer for UFC's commercial brand, Diaco International, the international master trainer for Life Fitness and Team ICG, and is the personal training program director for the NAFC. These roles, along with his unique depth of experience as a coach to coaches, allow him to dedicate his time to coaching health and fitness industry professionals to reach their maximum potential. It's my pleasure to introduce to Omni Athlete, Jesse Thomas. Welcome to the show, Jesse.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
So, Jesse, the first place that I wanted to start, because you have such a unique perspective as a coach to coaches, is what is one of the key characteristics you see to find somebody who will be successful as a coach?
Well, I think ultimately, to be a successful coach, you have to care about other people. I think that's kind of like the number one thing for coaches. And as long as you care, you're going to be headed in the right direction. And when I say care, I mean care not only about the performance of the individual, caring about, are you actually helping them get better in terms of an athlete? Are you helping them better in terms of a player on a team and being able to work in a team environment? Are you helping them, get better at controlling their emotions on the field when things don't go their way or when things do go their way? And being able to kind of rein it in and control their energy when they need to continue to focus on the goal, which is, be a good sport, perform at your best optimally, and try to, if it's an individual or team sport, help your team or yourself advance to the podium. That's ultimately what it's all about. The competition, the spirit of competition, right?
So in one of our previous conversations, one of the really interesting things that we talked about is this reality that in the health and fitness industry, and I think this is probably indicative of global sports too, there isn't a ton of ongoing education for coaches that's specifically from a coach to a coach that is newer in their development. And that was both surprising for me to hear, and also, as we talked about it, it made sense with the experience that I've seen.
Yeah, it's something that's not just commercial fitness. It goes across all areas of sport as well. There, like you said in our previous conversation, there's tons of research, and of course, we all know there's lots of research going into athletics and preparing an athlete to be better at becoming an athlete. But there isn't a lot that goes into developing coaches, right? Coaches are typically inherently or just innately good at being a coach because they understand a lot of the key principles of what it takes to be good at being a coach and how much, psychological side there is to it, not just being able to physically advance somebody. So for me, kind of uniquely in the industry, that's really where I found kind of my niche in this industry. And I kind of noticed that, and I had, throughout my career found that I was good at coaching and consistently had, my bosses and people tell me that I was great at coaching. And then soon enough, they had me training their trainers and coaches and so on and so forth. And I was applying everything that I learned in school to, creating different types of fitness programs and stuff like that. And then training the coaches to be able to implement them. And ultimately, it came down to, there's lots of people that can bridge the gap between science and practical application. And that's one thing that I love doing because it's so important to be able to get our training regimens dialed in. But that the other huge key component of that is the psychology side of it, and being able to help an individual, like I said earlier, wrap their head around this. So a coach has to be able to recognize all of this in many different individuals oftentimes, and all these different personalities that they've got to work with, to be able to a lot of times control that environment of the energy of whatever happens to be going on in that particular area of competition at that moment, So it's really, it's fun for me to be able to give back to the coaches and be able to help a lot of newer coaches in this industry really sink their teeth into what are the important details for what I'm doing in this industry. Am I coaching athletes? Am I coaching a group of individuals that are in the commercial fitness industry? Two very different areas, right? If you're coaching athletes, I feel like you have a very controlled environment. Your variables in terms of individual skill, usually age, a lot of those things, fitness levels, all these different things, areas of expertise with that specific type of sport. The team sport environment, the individuals are very similar. So it's a lot easier for you to control that environment. The training regimens are the same. They're all those types of things, right? They're all working together, common goals for months and months at a time, the same group of individuals, right? Where like in the commercial fitness industry, I feel like a lot of times fitness instructors, group fitness instructors, coaches have a much more challenging time because they have all kinds of different levels of fitness going on, different ages, so many different variables going in. It could be one person that has been doing this program for 2 years versus another person that's the very first day, right? So the coach in that environment has to be able to juggle so many different things to try to get everybody kind of on the same page and have whatever that program or whatever that workout happens to be that day that group is going to be doing, that it becomes something that's a similar workout for everyone, regardless of their fitness level, regardless of, how long they've been training in that program. So, they both provide their unique challenges. They both are very physical and very mental. And so that's what I really like helping coaches do, is just get all of those key components dialed in to understand how to best approach coaching with whatever groups or individuals, they're really looking to get after in their career.
So what is and this applies both sides, on the team sports setting or just that elite competitive sports setting, and also the commercial fitness setting. What is the role as a coach for you of managing the energy of that group environment, that group dynamic, in helping the people that you're entrusted with leading get their best performance, both individually and collectively?
Great question. Energy management is one of the most important components of being able to control the environment of that group of individuals in that particular moment for whatever you happen to be doing. So, and that can be in the beginning of your workout, in the middle of your workout, at the end of your workout. It's finding ways to make individuals have a deeper connection with what they're doing and have it not be just about kind of, what physically are we trying to do today, but instead have it always be, something that's about the bigger picture, a longer term goal, not just short term goals. Of course, short term goals along the way, right? But you have to focus on the long term goals too. And so you have to have all these different elements of being able to coach all these different individuals uniquely in group settings and understand all of their different individual needs emotionally and physically, and physical differences, and really just be able, to focus and juggle all of that at once. And then, while you're focusing on all of that, you have to be able to control, a lot of times the intensity that they're working at. And so the intensity that the energy you give is the energy that you get. And that's something that coaches advocate. If you've got stuff going on in your life and you're stressed out and, you're not quite in the right headspace, like you got to check all that at the door. It doesn't matter because this is not about you right now. It's about the team. It's about the group. It's about everybody else. And they're counting on you to lead them. And in order for you to be a successful leader, you've got to be able to control that energy. And you've got to be able to lead by example and show them that no matter what's going on in your life, you can still set aside things and kind of compartmentalize different stresses in your life to be able to focus on certain areas. And at this particular moment, it happens to be, let's focus on whatever sport or athletic or group we happen to be working with and give everything that we can to this particular moment, and be present in this actual training moment, both physically and mentally, to be able to be as successful as possible and have, kind of the most efficient training session as possible, both, individually and in within your team, and, the environment of camaraderie and all of those things that help individuals and teams be successful.
There is such a spiritual component to coaching when I hear you talk about it, and it's really energizing because one of the themes that it seems to come up for us in these conversations is that coaching really is a spiritual path of life. It's not purely a career, or at least it doesn't have to be. And it seems like, and I would love for you, to hear your perspective on this. It seems like the coaches that are the most successful, both in terms of producing the results and also just that have the most joy in being a coach, see it as a bigger perspective around life, not just a job that they do.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think to kind of highlight what you just said, you'll know that it's the coaches typically that walk the walk and talk the talk that are the most sound and look and feel the most passionately driven about what they do. And that's because they live the lifestyle that they preach. And, for most and I consider myself to be in that category, along with many others. There's so many other great coaches who lead by example. And really that's what it's about. It's we've discovered not necessarily a path to enlightenment. I wouldn't necessarily say that, but some might consider it to be that. But it's really about kind of living the best version of you, and being consistently like living a lifestyle that allows you to pursue the best version of you, whether you don't feel like you're there today, as long as you're on that path. And I think that's what most really great coaches like to help other people do, is instill all of these kind of great lifestyle choices that allow them to get the most mental focus and clarity, and allow them to get the most confidence in themselves, whether it's around the house or athletic or at work or whatever, the most confidence in their abilities because they understand better what they're capable of. And I think when you really get put to the test a lot, and when you push yourself to different limits and you test yourself consistently, and you're constantly pushing yourself to areas that force you outside of your comfort zone, then it's going to force you to adapt. That's what humans are great at, adapting physically, mentally, and the whole spiritual component that you're talking about can tap into this whole neurological side that we could go off on a different tangent, and the different, neurological reactions that happen in your brain associated with that, phenomenon of the higher being kind of thing, So, I mean, that could be a conversation another day. But ultimately, I mean, we could spitball tangents all day long.
So I do want to pull that thread a little bit indirectly, actually, and what I love about this, Jesse, is that I think you can bring a really interesting perspective to this question too. So our bodies so often, one of the best phrases I've heard to describe what the body is the manifestation of the subconscious mind, right? And the reason I love that phrase is because it seems to remind us that our body is picking up, letting go, it's holding on to energy, it's releasing energy, it's transforming, whether we are always as conscious of it as we want to be. And so that plays into the neurological component you're talking about. That plays into how we approach just our own personality, how we approach ourselves. And I think the question I'm curious here to hear from you is, as a coach, and also just in your experience as a competitor, what has allowed you to maybe grab on to that idea that your body's going to reflect maybe who you are inside too, and how has that been useful?
I think it's kind of, for me at least, a direct reflection of trial and error and practical application on myself. In my younger years, kind of as a teenager, when I started getting into fitness, always being involved in team sports and individual sports my whole life growing up. And understanding how to work in those different environments, getting better physically and mentally, and being a better and stronger competitor was always a big part of my life. And then once I kind of found the science of, exercise physiology and kinesiology and all these things, that I decided, whoa, yeah, that's what I want to go to school for. Because, for me, it was like, okay, this all makes sense now. I can bridge the gap between science and practical application. And there is a why behind all of this. Okay. So, okay, well, if we apply the science and we're in this constant pursuit of becoming better physically, what other components are going to help us get better at this with this physical thing? And as I started training, and in my younger years, trying lots of different types of workouts and stuff like that, let's try this for 6 to 8 to 12 weeks and see what happens. And it was a lot of that, just experimentation. And through that, really found that when I did exercise, when during exercise, after exercise, I always felt better about myself. I always felt better. I always had more energy. I always felt like I was consistently accomplishing more in my life to pursue a healthier version of me. And health has always been a big portion of my life growing up, something, my mother instilled in me from a very young age, of eating right. She, would always cook really healthy meals, and she would always exercise. She set a great example. So it was always something that it was kind of like a no-brainer for me. It was just like, well, yeah, that's just how you should live your life if you want to be healthy. And from then, it was just a matter of getting it dialed in, right? And so the psychological component of it was really just a matter of kind of a direct adaptation of fitness. I just felt like, when I would exercise and throughout this regimen and training to get stronger and faster and all these other things, like, I just felt a lot better about myself every day. And it's like, man, I got a lot of confidence. I feel really good. I feel like I can tackle so many different things. And it was just like, well, if this kind of stuff makes you feel so good about yourself, why wouldn't everybody want to do this? Like, I wake up every day with a smile on my face, ready to spearhead the day. Like, let's do this. I'm ready to get after it. So I don't know. I just feel like that psychological component is just, it's one of those things that if you can rein in and kind of find that consistent lifestyle and do the things that for fitness, that's a little bit something different for everybody. Everyone likes different things. If you like to dance, then go dance. If you like to ride your bike, do what you like, but definitely have a variety in your regimen. We don't want to be overtraining, but find those things that release, the dopamine and the serotonin in your brain and make you feel good and, make you want to be friendlier to strangers and nicer to your husbands and wives, and maybe more calm and collected in stressful situations. It just helps you, I feel, approach life, kind of a lot more in control, maybe.
What do you mean by in control?
I mean, maybe not as quick to react negatively to certain situations, and maybe, take a step back and internalize certain scenarios and usually understand that a lot of times when there's a stressful situation, it's because, well, some other person's stressed out, and if it stresses you out, it's probably because they're stressed out for some reason, which is out of your control. So why should you let it get you stressed out, like road rage? Like, I don't know. I think I think every young male goes through their bout of road rage, but at a certain time in their life, they realize, what the heck? Why am I getting so mad about something so silly? Like, why does it really matter if someone drives a little bit faster than you and goes around? Like, everybody has that weird instinct that they don't want to be like overtaken on the highway by that person. It's such a weird thing, and it's like, ultimately, all of that hustle and bustle to get one or two cars ahead, like that person ends up getting there 30 seconds before me. Like, what's the big deal? Don't stress out about it. Like, don't let little things like that stress you out. That person cuts you off, let it go. Like, who cares? It's not a big deal. Like, just let it go. Take a breath.
It's this beauty of being integrated into your body. At least that's what I'm hearing, and that's what comes up for me. And I think as coaches, it's so easy for us to take for granted how critical that step is to our ability to show up as leaders. And you touched on this earlier, but it feels like this consistent thread, right? If we're seeing the responses that we're getting, the reactions that we're getting from our clients, from our team, from our athletes, not as reflective of us, but of whatever they may be going through, it really does shift our perspective.
Right. Well, it does. And, ultimately, I think it allows you to, you can control your energy better. And I think as a coach, that's really what you need to be able to do to be able to control the energy of the environment, of the group of individuals. There's something to be said about that calm, collected leader, that doesn't get overly reactive in stressful situations, because ultimately as a coach, that's really what you need, whether or not you're coaching individuals in athletics and on the field, or you're coaching a group of individuals in a group fitness room, in an exercise studio, in a commercial fitness club. Like, either way, you can't let a stressful situation, kind of stress you out, and have your energy then reflect the energy of everybody else around you, whether it's on the field or in that room. And a good example of that would be, in a group fitness environment, and let's say, a fitness studio, if the microphone goes out because the batteries went dead or whatever, and the instructor, kind of let it get to them, and like, my manager never replaces the batteries, and now I can't teach them. They get frustrated, right? And some of the members there hear them say that, and then next thing you know, the manager has like 15 emails in their inbox from angry members saying, you don't support so and so, you don't provide them with the tools that they need to succeed. It becomes this chain reaction, right? That's one example in the group fitness room. There's many examples in there, or on the field. It could be, the other team's scores a goal, and how you react as a coach. If you maybe felt that it was an undeserving goal, and there was a foul or something, and how are you going to present yourself? One of the greats who I really admire is Steve Kerr. Watching him coach the Golden State Warriors, he's always just such an even-keeled coach. And at that level, it's not really about coaching the players' athleticism or their ability. Like, they are good. That's as good as it gets. You're not going to get better players than that. His job is to just coach their emotions and, be able to rally their energy the entire time, and help make sure that mentally they can be as strong as they could possibly be to attack the game as physically as possible. So I admire coaches like that who really understand that mental component of the game and can, in stressful situations, really keep their even keel, because it helps everyone in the room maintain their energy. It helps everyone and when the coach gets appropriately excited, positively appropriately excited, the players or the people in the room are going to get excited. That energy that you put out is what you're going to get back. So if you want people to work harder and try harder, and you're at practice, you've got to pump your energy up a little bit. You've got to raise the volume of your voice a little bit. Help them get after it.
Jesse, this has been really, it's both been energizing and fascinating, because the threads that we've pulled are different, and yet they're all still interconnected. So thank you. Before I ask my final question, where can these guys go to connect with you online?
Oh man, I'm on Instagram as coach.jesse. I actually just started another account today, Fitness Deconstructed. I have that on Facebook. It's fitnessdeconstructed.com is my website. So on Facebook, you can find me as Fitness Deconstructed. On Instagram, you can find me as Fitness Deconstructed. If you're interested in, kind of more my personal life and, the family and the adventures that I like to get into and stuff like that, you can follow me as coach.jesse on Instagram. So I will very shortly. I'm adding a section to my website that is all about education for coaches. It's something that I've been working on for the past about year and a half. I've been creating a ton of content to be able to give back to coaches. So I'm going to have a lot of stuff that's for free. I'll have recommendations on, my opinion on certain products. I have a book that I am editing right now. It's hopefully going to be ready very soon. It's called The Ultimate Heart Rate Training Guide, and we get into all kinds of details about training and heart rate training, and all for every type of sport that you would be doing or any type of athletic thing that you would want to improve. So that's going to be available soon. I'm trying to launch it all at once, so hopefully I can get it all up within the next few weeks. But a ton of information for coaches, because ultimately that's what I found is lacking in this industry is available information for coaches. And there's lots of stuff out there. There's lots of people posting different things. And I see a lot of stuff that I just go, well, that's not necessarily right. But there's a lot of people looking at that going, oh, maybe I should do that. Maybe that what they're doing is, the right thing for me to do. So I just felt like, I need to make accessible my experience in this industry, my education that I've gone through, and make all of these things really accessible tools to coaches to be able to sharpen their skills and be able to improve every area of sport and fitness that they're coaching, whether it's individual or team. I just really want to see all the coaches in the industry be elevated and have everyone who they work with get a lot more out of what they're doing with that coach, because it's such a powerful role for people, both in their lives growing up in sport, and then if they continue in fitness and commercial, like that coaching element of having the coach to help rein you in is so important. Just real quick to touch on that, when I was working in San Francisco, I was working with a company and managed a bunch of personal training teams in downtown San Francisco, and so I ended up that area is full of bankers and lawyers and all of these type A personalities and the hungry go-getters of the world, right? And I would work with these CEOs and executives, and they were all my clients, right? And they all they had so much control in the office, and there was so much power that they have, right? And then they would show up and they'd work with me and they'd relinquish all control, and I would have complete control. And they really appreciated the fact that someone else that could coach them, because so many of those personality types, people feel like they're uncoachable. They look at them like they know it all, like, oh, that person is at the top, so they must know it all. But everybody, when it comes to health and fitness, like, everybody needs help with that. Everybody needs a coach. Everybody needs to be motivated. Everybody needs somebody to push them, whether that's a coach or a training partner, somebody else. That camaraderie factor works. But when you can have eyes on you that help you with technique and making sure that you're doing it right, that all the right modifications are happening, that it's dialed in as efficient as it can possibly, that's really what it's all about, is efficiency. So, people only have so much time they can dedicate to what we've been talking about, of that lifestyle. So if you're going to dedicate, if you have an hour a day, a couple hours a week, like, it has to be as efficient as you can possibly make it. So that's really what kind of the educational section on my website is all about, is just helping coaches implement what they do to be more effective and more efficient for every single person, every life that they touch, because it's going to come back tenfold when people get results. They go and tell their friends, and then everybody's going to want to work with you.
Jesse, it's incredible and it's needed. Wow. So the final question of this show, the show is called Omni Athlete because we want to understand what it takes to be the ultimate body, mind, and spirit competitor. So the final question is, what does being an Omni Athlete mean to you?
I think it's awareness. I think it's awareness of constant awareness of your environment, because being aware of whatever environment you're in, athletic, at work, wherever you are, that's what's ultimately going to allow you to soak in the most details, kind of the most variables around you that are going to allow you to make the most appropriate decision. And if that's sport, are there visitors around you? Are you out on the road? Are there other cars around you? It's like it's awareness. Life is full of awareness, and you have to be present in the moment. And so much of our life around us is trying to distract us. Advertisements and cell phones and so many distractions constantly. And so being aware just is what ultimately I think is going to help you be the omni athlete and be that person that approaches sport and fitness and this lifestyle choice of this well-rounded approach. Like you have to be present in every moment for you to be able to take advantage of everything that moment has to offer you. So being aware of everything around you is going to help you do that and help you take advantage of that moment and have it be as efficient or effective or whatever it needs to be for you.
Wow. Jesse, thank you. That was incredible. And thank you for being on the show. Guys, go check out Jesse's website, check out the content he's producing. And one of the most incredible aspects of Jesse's work and his personality and the work that he's done is that it's all authentic. It's real. He's working, he's trying these pieces, and he's seen what it takes to disseminate information in your head into application for other people. And that is a giant gap for most of us as coaches and leaders. Whether you consider yourself a coach or not, if you're an omni athlete, you are coaching and leading someone. And so often what happens is we can't find a way to get what's in our head or what we've used to be successful out into the world around us, whether it's to our coaches, our colleagues, our teammates. And Jesse has really, literally, not to overuse this word, deconstructed that ability and is sharing that with the world. So please go check out what he's working on, check out his website, follow him on social media. And until next time, thank you for listening to this episode of Omni Athlete. Hey, what is up, guys? Thank you for watching another episode of Omni Athlete. Please go like and subscribe to our podcast. That is our goal right now, is just to build this community as big as we possibly can, and we need your help to do it. So like and subscribe, share our content, guys. If this content adds any value to your world, that helps you perform, connect, go deeper, go wider, whatever it is that it does for you, if it provides value, all we ask is that you share our content and help grow this community. We can't accomplish our goal of elevating global consciousness through sport without you. You are an integral part of this mission and this purpose, and we need your help. So please go like, subscribe, and share our content and continue to help us build and grow this community that is truly motivated to not just elevate consciousness, but elevate and shift the very culture of sport so that we can truly experience the athletic experience in a brand new and energizing way for so many people, guys. So thank you, and please like and subscribe. Until next time.